A round of applause, a standing ovation for the ET panel. Come on, you can do better than that. MacNaughton, Wallace, Meritt, Thomas, Howell. Louder than that. This is the ET panel. Give it up.
We seem to have misplaced C. Thomas Howell. We will find him in just a second.
All right.
Find the prettiest girl in the place.
Okay. Well, welcome. It is so nice to have you here. This is quite a thing. Welcome aboard. You guys have any stories? We'd love to hear them. These
Testing
people.
1, 2.
Yeah, hang on. We're going to pot that down a little bit.
Better get in your pajamas, and we'll start telling stories.
All right.
Paging C. Thomas Howell. Paging C. Thomas Howell.
We'll give them a minute or two, then we'll get right to the questions, unless you guys want to just jump right in. And
I think we should jump right in.
We should just start.
We should just jump right in. Hands up for questions. Let's get this rocking. I know right back here. Let's get your question right here, sir.
Hi, guys. Question. Now that Drew Barrymore has her own show, is there any plans to do an on-air reunion? Because I know they just had Steven Spielberg.
Drew's had her own show since she was 6 years old. You're all just now watching the show.
Yeah.
That's so true.
And ladies and gentlemen,
TV show.
no further ado, C. Thomas Howell.
There you go.
I told you we'd find him.
I told him, find the prettiest girl in the place. You'll find C. Thomas.
That was at the bar.
All right. Excellent.
The first day on the set, I was in my high director's chair, and Drew came up to me, and she said, "Hi, I'm going to sit on your lap now."
Oh.
So we knew she was going to be a director from day one, right?
And she had stories for everybody. Like
Yeah.
I remember it was the punk rock band with the Purple People Eaters.
Yeah, that's right. The first thing she said to me was, "How many movies have you been in?" And I said, I've been in one. She goes, "Oh, poor baby. I've been in 4.
She was 6.
She was 6, yeah.
And she still has me beat.
Yeah, she still had
4. You gotta catch up.
That's pretty good.
All right. Hands up for questions. Hit them on that side. I'll get them on this side. Right there.
All right, here we go.
Here we go.
Thank you. Hi, when you guys were doing that flying scene with the bicycles and everything, when you were on stage, and I know it's Hollywood, were you like hung up on bicycles, or
They were hung up all right.
How did that feel?
We were on a crane arm on a bike that was mounted on a crane arm, and at the time you did everything in front of a blue screen, and it was rear projection that they were still doing. So we were about, I don't know, like 4 or 5 feet off the ground, kind of moving around.
No, I don't.
Not too high.
I don't want to speak for all of us, but I don't really. The only thing I recall doing was being on like sort of not even a bicycle, but like a bench, like a high seat.
We were all on really cool bikes, but you were just on the bench.
I guess. And then they had miniature redwoods, and they had them on rollers, and they pulled them all back, and so it looked like they were receding behind us at the ILM in Northern California.
On a bench.
Or a high seat or something. I don't know.
A high seat.
We never actually got on.
It was on the buckboard because we were still using mules and wagons.
You think you're going to get a straight answer out of them, guys. Give it up. Give it up.
Got a question for you right here.
With the ET ride still at Universal Studios Florida, when it opened up, or even recently, have you guys ridden it? And have you experienced it at all?
Well, I was down there for the opening of it.
Yeah, we were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot.
It was like 1990, I think.
Really long time ago for me. Yeah, it's a great ride.
They shut the one in LA. They shut it down. So the other one's still.
Have they updated it at all? It's amazing. Yeah. Oh, sure.
Well, Robert and I had a chance to ride the one in Los Angeles, but we thought it was going to be lame because there was another. Well, what was the movie?
The Jurassic Park
Oh
ride.
yeah, Jurassic
It was a
Park
thrill
ride.
ride. It was a roller coaster.
What's interesting in this one is that it's like when the movie ends, and then you go back to the home planet to where what they do with that is that was the sequel was supposed to be. And it was real kind of like a Fraggle Rock weird like tribute.
Yeah, there was
event.
a book. There was a book by William Kotzwinkle called The Green Planet, and
Yep,
it was
that's what
sort
it was.
of a
You go back to the Green Planet to save. It
We
goes
keep
through-
waiting for the sequel.
Yeah.
There's a height restriction on that ride, so they won't let me on, which is ironic. Someone's got to smuggle me on in their backpack or something.
All right, some more questions?
All right. Well, first of all, it's great to have you all here.
Thank you.
So, what would be your favorite part about working on E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial and with Steven Spielberg and all?
That it was a really big hit.
Great. That's great. Yeah, the bike scene is definitely my favorite, especially seeing like everyone like contribute to it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a big deal at the time. You know, the flying bikes. It was always a hit. Yeah.
My favorite scene was reading to Gertie, reading Peter Pan. I love that
Tinkerbell.
scene. What?
And Tinkerbell?
And Tinkerbell.
Tinkerbell.
Yes.
Yes.
We got another question right over here.
I read some time back that there were rumors of a story treatment that Steven Spielberg wrote around 1984-85 for a second E.T. Involving like hostile versions of the E.T. alien coming to Earth because they picked up on the radio transmitter. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, well, Henry read that. I remember because he had told me about it, and I hadn't heard about it, that there was a treatment, not a script. But the first time I encountered that was on the internet a couple years ago. Somebody posted that.
Oh, I would not want them to do that.
No, there was
No.
talk. There was talk for years about doing a sequel, but Stephen and Melissa Matheson, who wrote the screenplay for E.T., they didn't ever really want to kind of compromise the integrity of the first film by doing something else. So they just decided against it.
And Stevens, I've heard him say before that it's a complete film. He doesn't need a part
Yeah.
two or a.
Thank you. I agree.
I mean, it would have been great for us.
Right. Don't get me wrong.
It still would be great for us, but
Yeah.
not with something hostile.
On a philosophical level, we support it.
Fiscally, we support it.
Yeah.
I want a feel-good heart film like the first one if they're going to do a sequel.
No zombie ETs. Could be cool. I don't know.
It could work.
Some of the things people have done online have been incredible, though. I mean, they've done almost, like 5-minute preview, trailers for their version of a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
One of which said, like, it had me living in Bakersfield or something. I'm like, okay, that's what happened to me.
My dad
on a bench.
on a bench.
Exactly.
Bench.
Bakersfield.
Hi there.
Are they growing corn in the sequel? There's corn in the first movie. Was that corn?
Yeah, it was
Okay,
corn.
where's
yeah,
corn?
it was
Why?
corn.
In the redwoods.
Oh, in the redwoods. Okay, you can go corn. Yeah,
So we just had corn in our backyard.
See what I had to put up with.
Hi there. I know not a sequel, but the commercial 2 Christmases ago. Could you tell us a little bit about that and how they approached you and how it was to revisit Elliott after 30 some years?
Like every Super Bowl for the last 30 years, pretty much I've gotten, like, before it happens, I get these like frantic calls, and it's some marketing liaison or something for somebody, and they try to gear these things up, but they always fail because Steven Spielberg won't give his okay. So that had gone on for years, but he okayed this one, so it came to me and it was real, so I just did
And
it.
when Stephen does that, oftentimes it's a hint about something else that he's got an idea about. So we're all like,
Yeah, I don't know if it was like a like temperature check to see if.
For me, that was almost a nail in the coffin that it wouldn't happen.
Yeah. No, I think
it
you're
wasn't
right.
like the door
really?
opening. It was like, it's over, man.
That's
to
it.
me, that's how I took that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm more optimistic.
Like, God bless.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the idea of a sequel is great, but.
Well, how did you feel
What
when they
if
came to you and said, we
Tarantino
want to do this
directed it?
commercial? Were you excited about it? You wanted to do it, or were you on the...
I was excited because I thought I would get paid.
Right.
So I said...
Spoken like a true actor.
I was like, yeah, I mean, I'll do it if I can, you're going to pay me? I'll do it. And usually...
It was really well done, though.
It really was.
It was really
No,
well
it
done.
I mean, they did a great job, and I think it was cool because it didn't...
Compromise
It didn't compromise it, and it was true to
and the hope it brought the planet, like Dee said, the fake
freaked out.
optimist over here. It brought this hope to all of us, like it would happen, but I don't.
Yeah.
It was a sad tease, I think.
What was the movie where they
It was
watched?
heartbreaking because I saw what there could be, and I was like, man,
The
that'll
saddest
never
part-
happen. It was heartbreaking.
The
You
saddest
just
part
want to
was-
reach for my ass again.
She's talking about the green room.
Oh, right.
She's talking about the green room.
Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
Hashtag me too.
And he never worked again.
Yep, that was it. No sequel.
All right, then. Moving on, we got a question over here to the right, the far right.
Was making the film a magical experience for all of you,
No.
or do you get? Okay. or do you get sick and tired of like talking about it over and over and over again, like throughout all these years?
Yeah, sure. But I mean, also, it's like it's a special movie for a lot of people, and it's a special movie for us too because
For what it does for everybody,
For me, because I wasn't the main stars like these guys, and it was a very different ride for them than it was for me. But for me, it's super magical. I mean, I love talking about that film, and that experience for me was what led me into The Outsiders and into this career that I had as an actor. And it was because of that, because of the work that I saw them do. When I watched Henry work, that was the first time I had an illustration of what acting is, of what I didn't know what preparation was. And he'd go out like by himself and think about something and then come in and do a scene, and he'd be amazing. And I got to see that process. I got to see Dee arguing with Spielberg. I didn't know you could do that.
Did not argue with Mr.
She
Spielberg.
stood
I
firm.
expressed my viewpoint.
The point I'm trying to make is that my role was a smaller role, and I wasn't really. I came from a stunt man family. All my family were all stunt people, so I figured, this is cool because I'd be able to buy a new horse and a horse trailer, but I'd be back to doing stunts. And seeing this process really motivated me to want to continue to do it, and it was because of them. And so for me, it was very magical. Just
Well, and I want to clarify because we were being cute up here. It's
still
so
cute.
hard.
It's still be
But you have to understand, making a film is a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hours, and it can get tedious, and sometimes it's magical, and sometimes you want to go home, and sometimes you don't want to get there that early. It's hard work, and when it comes out, I think for most of us, and we see how the audience embraces it and how it changes people's lives, which this film does on a regular basis, changes people's lives. And now we have a new generation of children whose lives are going to be changed. This is our Wizard of Oz. So I want to be clear that we weren't just being snide, we were just being cute.
Yeah,
it's
no,
important for you to
it
understand.
is. Yeah.
Let's talk about the guy that was working for M&M's that said no.
Oh, do you think he got fired?
How about that guy?
We don't want to be associated with aliens. That's what.
Yeah, that's what
that
they
was their
said.
response.
You know, he still got credit though in the novelization of the movie.
Oh, really?
It was M&M's in the book?
In the book, it still says M&M's.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
What?
In which edition of the book? Wait, is this one of those Berenstein Bear things?
No. All right, we got a
Down
question.
here.
We got a question right
It's a
here from this lady.
Berenstain- It's a Berenstain Bears.
Oh,
She's-
okay.
I'll fight you on
She's
this
got
one.
she's got a question
We'll come
and a
back.
follow-up question. Then I'll be back up front.
So, what was the hardest thing you had to do for the movie, and what was the most anticlimactic thing you had to do for the movie?
The hardest thing for me was waiting. I waited a lot, and it was hard. It was hard for me.
The most anticlimactic thing was starting. We started.
I'm leaving. I'm getting no respect here.
We love you so much, Dee.
The hardest thing for me to do was being stuffed in the ET costume and sweat pouring down my eyes, not being able to see. It's like, okay, there's a reason why the costume wasn't cooler. Universal didn't have the budget.
Oh.
No, I'm joking. Jaws 2 flopped. And they're like, we're not cooling off the gimps. I mean, all they had to do was wrap some...
Matthew.
Can you think of a system of like dry ice packet that they can put inside the costume? It's not that high tech. Guys.
About how many
They
hours
never
a day?
made you comfortable. They never made Caprice comfortable either. They would.
Oh, she was
Caprice
suffering
was
too?
underneath the machinery. Whenever you see ET's face and he's reacting to everything, the woman that did his hands was a professional mime. So but when ET's drinking beer or eating potato salad, she's getting all this stuff dumped on her, and I mean she's in these positions like this, and So you weren't the only one.
You guys do know that it was Matt who gave us that magical walk that E.T. had. Yeah.
Matt is E.T.
Thank you.
Along with a lot of other things. But
About how many hours a day were you in the costume?
How many hours a day? Oh, shoot. Now it's going to sound not so brutal. I don't know, 40 minutes at a time, maybe.
But they had a limit for the children because of California welfare laws. They can only film for 4 hours, and then there's 3 hours of school and 1 hour of lunch. So they have to work around that at all times, which makes it hard for the adult actors.
Yeah, the adult actors have to wait until the kids are shot out and sent home because they don't have the same
it was
time
their
restrictions.
fault I had to wait.
You even have a photo double. Derek.
Yeah, I had
What's that kid's name?
Yeah, he was Australian.
No, he wasn't. He was South African.
Oh, he was South African.
Who?
Do you know why I know this?
No.
Because his kids went to school with my kids.
What?
Who are we talking about?
The photo double for Henry. The little South African kid.
We had
Remember
school
him?
with them.
No.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
I thought for sure Darren, no, I didn't think he was the child rearing sort.
Yeah.
We have a question down
We
here.
have two questions
Yes,
here,
he grew
side
up
by
and he-
side. We'll get her first.
You started to talk about it a little bit, but I'm a writer, and about 10 or 12 years ago, I had the opportunity to interview the actor who played C-3PO in Star Wars, and I learned things that I never imagined about, what it was like to wear that costume all day long. And
In the Tunisian
he was
desert?
bleeding, and they were bandaging him up, and he was miserable and cranky, and so I was just curious, what were some of your challenges playing E.T. in that costume?
Well, I wasn't used to walking on my hands because I'll do a demonstration of how I walked in the costume and then how I normally.
do it.
Right, so this is how I walked in the costume. And this is how I walk normal, when I'm around the house.
Oh. Nice.
Thank you. So I'm 15 years old. I got to carry the dad bod around, so I don't walk like E.T. anymore, basically.
But he was. He was so athletic. I can't even tell you how. just when we would go around the studio and stuff like that, we would go up ramps and he'd launch himself and like. I remember
This is
tackle
before
that
the
guy.
electric skateboard. I get
Yeah.
around an electric skateboard. I push myself around manually back.
Yeah.
But you guys would even go out and play basketball and everything together.
Well, you tackled Robert Stand-in that
Yeah,
time.
you
He was
tackled my
that,
stand-in.
that guy
'Cause
Rusty.
he was harassing one of the girls.
Oh, I did?
Yeah. You went up on top of a ramp and just like tackled
I just launched on him.
Robert
Yeah.
was harassing one of the girls.
No, my stand-in.
Robert Standing.
They didn't look anything alike.
No, but a lot of the drunk scene when Dee takes our picture with the Polaroid, the scene when she slams the fridge door and accidentally knocks E.T. over, was all Matt.
Yeah, I took all that abuse because
basically, and it's all like, and the reason you love E.T. and you don't even realize it is a lot of it's the sort of age-old, like kind of, not slapstick, but sort of physical humor that endears you to E.T., and that's because of Matt.
Yeah, I was lucky because I was the youngest. Pat Bylon, who played E.T., and another woman named Tamara Detrude. She was a dwarf, I think, and Pat was a midget, and so they had brittle bones, and they couldn't really do any pratfalls or anything like that because they get hurt. So
They didn't do as much at all because they both had health problems.
yeah, exactly.
So Matt stepped up, and he did like a lot more than originally was planned. He was just going to do sort of the stunts and stuff like that.
Yeah, it just worked out that way.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
All right, we got a question right up front here.
This question's for C. Thomas Howell. You'd referred to earlier your experiences with working with Spielberg on the set of E.T. How would you compare and contrast your experiences with Spielberg on E.T. with Francis Ford Coppola on The Outsiders?
Well, that's a good question. I'll put it the best I can explain it. Some directors come from technical backgrounds, and they understand cameras very well, and they understand the mechanics of making film very well. Some directors come from an artistic background, and they understand story and writing and characters very well, but they may suffer in the technical aspect, and they don't really understand camera really well. You take somebody like Steven and somebody like Francis, they both understand both very well. So that's what makes them the best. A lot of times, I'll work with directors who are just really strong in one aspect of it, and they need a lot of help in other areas. But when you get communicators like Spielberg and Coppola, who can really grasp the overall picture technically as well as artistically, and communicate what they want as well as they can, they create movies like E.T. and The Godfather.
It was a great question. Thank you for that.
All right, now we're over here, and I've got a question for you from this lady.
Okay, so a little while back on YouTube, I watched the final scene where E.T. says goodbye with no music, no score. For all I know, you guys have seen it with no score just through the process, but I'm just curious if you've seen that same thing, because it's really a trip. It's still really beautiful because the acting is fantastic, but without music, it's just
the music.
wild.
Music was another character in the
Yeah,
film.
the music took the film to a whole different level. Yeah.
When we were doing the looping, I saw pretty much close to the whole film with no music, and it is just. It's a much more intimate film. The scenes that really got me were the scenes with Henry and E.T. where he's showing him his room, which it's almost like an art film without the music. The
Really?
music sort of leads you along in that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But when I saw it without the music, it was almost like a different film.
With the music.
Well, I saw it first without.
Yeah.
And then when I saw it with the music, then I was like, kind of blown
You need
away.
you need to watch it and turn the volume off and play Dark Side of the Moon.
That's the way to go.
Hell yes! That's right. I'm at the hotel, folks. We're gonna party tonight. We'll watch E.T. put on Dark Side of the Moon. Shit's going down.
You gotta start it at just the right time, though. You gotta get the timing just right.
You see, we could just entertain each other for hours. There's a question.
This young man has a question for you.
So there was a movie made in the late 80s called Mac and Me, and it is very similar to E.T. What do you feel about that? How do you feel about that movie?
He was up for it.
I was up for it. Really? They brought it to me with Flight of the Navigator, Explorers.
Really? There's so many of
all
them.
of those movies, yeah. Mac and Me. Yeah, and Flight of the Navigator, the actor that they hired to do that is wearing the same shirt that I'm wearing in Cloak and Dagger, which is another movie I did about a year later.
Yeah, Cloak and Dagger.
So, yeah, there were a lot of
spin-offs.
A lot of spin-offs, and yeah. I mean, I think. Well, I mean, also E.T. was the first one of the first times in a film that you saw a benevolent alien. He wasn't there to eat brains or, liquefy people or something.
The best spin-off was made in Turkey, and you can find it on YouTube. I believe it's called Badu, B-A-D-U, and it's kind of like they just did like a whole movie in Turkish with E.T., and I highly encourage you to seek it out.
I was going to ask if any of you had seen the Turkish E.T. There's a whole slew of Turkish Superman,
Turkish Star Wars.
They're
I think the
hilarious.
Badu is the top, though. That was the pinnacle of the.
Well, this
You
gentleman
guys
here.
have way too much time on your hands.
Yes, we do.
Just hang out and watch a film in Turkish.
I have a quick question.
I'm good, Robert. That's cool.
I put on Dark Side of the Moon.
Hold on.
Just a quick
Dark Side of the Moon.
with all of like this magic and all this great film, what was the premiere like? Going to the premiere?
I mean, I didn't go to the premiere in LA. I went to
London.
the first time I saw it was Houston, Texas, and because I'm from Texas and I was still in San Antonio at that time, and I saw it with Kathleen Kennedy, who was the producer, and we saw it together in Houston, and I thought that I still heard Steven Spielberg's voice in the soundtrack. Like I could hear him talking through the scenes, and I was like, Kathy, they've got to take Steven's voice out because it's distracting.
Wow, he was in your head.
Yeah, it was in my head.
Wow, that's interesting.
Was that before or after you synced it up to Dark Side of the Moon?
Yeah, same.
Did we have a
Now
premiere
you got me.
Really?
in LA?
I thought you guys went to London.
I didn't go to London because I was shooting Cujo.
There was a
There was
premiere
a
in
royal
LA,
premiere.
and Drew was there.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't go to the premiere in LA. I remember there was footage of Drew at the premiere in LA.
That's right, yeah.
But I think it was not a red carpet type premiere. It was like a
Really?
Cinerama Dome kind of publicity event.
When it came out, I was working and got a call from Tom Cruise.
What?
Who had just left the set of The Outsiders. I was still shooting, and he called me up and he said, I can't believe this film that you're in. It's amazing. Wow. It's changed my life. Tom Cruise.
That's cool.
Good. Did he hire you?
We never spoke again.
Okay, we've got a question right here.
Yeah, my question's for Dee. See, you've done a lot of horror movies over the years. Do you prefer? Do you prefer to do a horror movie, or do you prefer to do movies like this?
I prefer to do good movies with great parts. And, I didn't go looking for all the horror, but I got to tell you, I really love doing it because I love doing a lot of emotional work. I'm good at it, and I love to bring all those different parts of myself up. And it gets kind of boring playing leading ladies, really. I like the character in 3 from Hell. Oh, I had so much fun doing that character, as ugly and weird as she is. So I feel blessed to be a part of E.T. because everywhere I go, I see how it touches people's lives. Have the horror films I've done touched people's lives and changed their lives? Probably not. But as the actor in me, it's a thrill ride for me to do them.
My favorite is The Frighteners. I love that film.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't know if I would classify it as a traditional horror film.
No, it's a dramedy.
But you're great in it. And you're
a horror-y.
It's a good film, and you're great in it.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert.
We've got a question right here for you.
Dee started to kind of answer the question I have, and this is for everyone. E.T. was such an impactful, big movie. How did it change all of your lives before and after the movie came out? How was your lives changed by this?
You know, I don't think it changed me. It certainly changed the opportunities in the business that I had. But I was raised in Kansas by my grandma and my mom mostly, and the church. And I was taught, you know, you have to be true to yourself, and whatever you think you're doing great in the world, you don't take that to your head. You just take it to your heart, and you keep doing the best you can. So I don't think it really has ever changed me, but it certainly brought me opportunities and certainly took them away, too. All of a sudden, I became everybody's mom. Well, you know, I played killers, and I played call girls, and I played astronauts, and all of a sudden, the only thing I could play for 10 years was a mom, you know? So there's yin and yang to, I think, everything we do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's much the same with me, with what Dee just said. You know, it's like...
You played moms for 10 years?
I played moms for 10 years after ET, which was really weird. It was really weird because I wasn't a mother.
Yeah.
And he plays one on TV.
Yeah, I play one on TV. No, I don't know. I mean, I'm I'm Elliott forever. I'm Elliott forever, like in a lot of people's minds, right? And see the clapping. They like it. They want to keep it right there. No, but you know, it didn't really change who I was. It changed what happened to me, I guess, and how. I mean, I think it's the reason I still have a career is because of ET. You know,
that doesn't suck.
That's not too bad.
I don't.
Awesome. Most
I
of the
disagree with that because I think, you know,
put him in his
let's say
place.
It hadn't, yeah, let's say it hadn't happened. Raggedy Man, you're incredible in. You would have continued getting opportunities after that because of how good you were. So it would have been a different arc, yeah. But you know, your career is not because of ET.
Well, no, but I mean, in large part, ET is responsible for.
Yeah, for opening doors.
For opening doors, yeah.
But you might have had those same doors open to you with the next thing you did after Raggedy Man, anyway.
Robert really likes you.
Yeah. Do you think?
No matter how.
Likes you. He really likes
he's
you.
just a great actor.
No matter how mean I am, he just keeps coming back. No, thank you, Robert. That's very nice to say.
It's true, Henry. Talent rises no matter who brings it up, you know?
Thanks. I mean, I feel it gives me optimism because a lot of times I'm like, oh, God, what a mistake. Why did I become an actor? This is stupid.
Every actor, by the way, thinks that. Right?
Yeah, I took it seriously. I put my money where my mouth was.
He thought that when he was 16.
I know,
Yeah.
exactly. But
yeah, but I mean, look, this is the thing. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. You never. None of us. Nobody knows. The studios don't know. They don't know if they didn't know if ET was going to be successful. They were scared of it. They thought it was going to flop because nobody had released a movie with an alien that didn't want to eat everybody's brains.
a ton of studios turned it down before it got to Universal. Like 8 studios or something.
Let me tell you, the first time I saw it with an audience was at Universal with all the suits. And it ended, and nobody clapped, nobody said, "Oh, wow, what? Nothing." I thought, my career's over. They hate it. They hate me. I ran out of, and then I went to the Cinerama Dome and stood in line, thank you very much, to see it. And people were crying and clapping and wailing. And I went, oh, maybe I do have a career app. It was like a total dichotomy experientially.
Why is that? Why did they react so deadpan to that?
I think because
they're all worried about their jobs.
they're all worried about their jobs. And they're waiting for, oh, does the boss
But
like
rule
it?
number one,
The guy like it?
never go to a screening with suits.
Yeah.
Rule number
Well,
one.
I learned that.
Yes.
Then I came home and I went, my career's over. They hated it. Nobody said anything. I did.
All right, we have another question for you right here.
Hi, this question is for Dee, and since this weekend is the Westminster Dog Show, and you mentioned Cujo, I read that there were 3 Saint Bernards used on the set, and you accidentally got bit.
No.
No? Good.
First of all, there were 9 real dogs, all trained to go after toys. We had to tie their tails down with fish wire because they were wagging them all the time. And then there was a stuntman in a dog suit because you can't ask a dog to hit his head against the car, but you can ask a man to.
By the way, my father was a stunt coordinator in that film. True story.
And an awesome job he
Thank
did.
you.
And Carl
Love you,
Miller was the dog trainer those dogs were trained within an inch of their lives. The closest thing I ever got to being afraid was the scene.
When the guy in the dog suit would hump her leg. True story. Sorry, Dee. I was there. I swear to God, I was there.
Oh my God.
There's no secrets in this room. That's just between the 300 of us. We just keep that right here and the internet.
There's actually a fabulous scene of us all dancing with the dog in a kick line on my table.
I thought that was funny.
When the dog had to, the way it's cut, he attacked me and I'm on the ground, right? Well, in order to actually have a dog on top of me, they had to drug the dog. Yes, there was a vet there taking care of it, but they didn't put him all the way out, so they put 130 pounds of dead dog on top of me, and I'm like in La La Land, right, getting ready for the scene, and I hear the dog's face is right here, and the dog goes, and I was looking at the dog and I said, Louis, he's out, right? Yeah, don't worry. And then Louis Teague, our director, says, can you lift him up and down, Dee, like you're fighting him? So I'm bench pressing this 120-pound dog. But no, nobody ever got bitten. There was a dog that passed during the filming. It had nothing to do with the filming. The trainer actually slept in the barn with the dogs. I mean, they were much better taken care of than I was.
I always wondered, where was that movie filmed?
Northern California. Mendocino, Carmel area.
All right, I don't know if you can see me through the pillar here, but we've got a question for you right back here.
Hi, big fan of E.T. I found a book. It was a sequel to the first one, E.T. and the Book of the Green Planet. Was that ever floated as a possible sequel to you guys? Was there discussion about a sequel
Not
to E.T.?
me.
I mean, there was always talk, but it was never anything that came to fruition. And I think the book was, part of a Universal Studios marketing plan to, keep furthering it.
It didn't work.
But it didn't work.
All right, let's get one or two more and call it. What do you think?
There.
Right back there.
I'm on my way.
And by the way, you guys will be all headed back to your tables to sign after the...
Oh, sure.
Okay,
Yes.
so keep that in mind. So if you're a little too shy
Raise
to
your
ask a
hand if
question,
you have a question.
please go visit them at their table when we're done here.
All righty, here we go.
This question is for Dee also. Dee, I'm just wondering how it's possible that you're the youngest person on the panel.
We're wondering too.
Come home with me, little boy. Thank you, darling. I love you for that. You have no idea.
There we go.
I have some hard candies in my purse.
I think she's one of those Dr. Sleep people that like takes our blood or something to stay young.
Yeah.
All right, this gentleman has a question.
Yes, I wanted to know, is there a reason why certain movies like E.T. you never see, and then some movies you see all the time? Is it because of rights or anything like that? You know?
I didn't...
One more time on that?
Is there a reason why, like E.T., you never see it rerun on TV very often, but some movies get rerun all the time? Is there a reason?
I think they
run
rerun
ET
it all the time.
Oh, they play it for Thanksgiving and like
Easter,
they release it. Yeah, they release it
Christmas.
seasonally.
Summer.
But they didn't at first. They didn't throughout the 80s. They re-released it 3 times in theaters, I think, and they released it again in the 90s.
You know, anybody that wants to study marketing should study the marketing of E.T. and how long they've kept it alive and how they've infused new ideas into it to keep the public interested. But guys, it's our Wizard of Oz, you know? And when you make another Wizard of Oz, people want to see it over and over and over again. It's a heart movie. It reminds us what's important, which is love and friendship and peace and working together. And don't we need that now?
All right, we got 2 more questions here. We'll wrap things up here.
Got it.
What are your thoughts about the infamous E.T. video game on the Atari 2600?
Well, I played it and I got stuck in that hole that you couldn't get out of, and I quit playing it. You know, I was like, I was disappointed to say the least.
I take it none of you received royalties from that.
I was like, come on, I'm Elliott. Come on, I'm the guy.
There was a game for the Nintendo DS based on the book of the Green Planet that came out, you know, like around 2002. That was somewhat better. You know, it was like a mobile video game. So it wasn't quite the train wreck that the original one was.
All right, buried all those somewhere in
the desert.
In the desert.
We'll let this young lady here have the last question.
Okay, my question is for all of you, because I'm a big fan of E.T. I love E.T. Was it hard for y'all to like do like all the scenes and stuff? Because I used to do acting as like a little kid, and like I had all kind of acting classes. And I just want to know, how hard was it for you guys to do all the scenes and like do
You
them all?
mean working with the animatronic puppet,
Yeah.
or like just
Doing all of the like how you guys have to act and stuff.
Was it hard when?
Yeah, it
Did
was-
you ever forget your lines, and what did Spielberg do?
Yeah,
Forgot.
I mean, it was tough. It was a lot of work, a lot of acting work, I guess. But you know, that's what we do, and it's also, you know, we had a great environment because we had the best people around. We had great actors. We had great crew people, and you know, when you work on a film, everybody elevates everybody else. So you're working to do your best work, and it doesn't really matter what the film is. Like, that's what I mean when we were saying earlier, like, there was a question about, you know, did you have any idea it was going to be successful? That's the last thing on your mind. You know, you're worried about the day-to-day work, and doing the best you can in the scene that you're doing that day.
And after all, little kids do it every day. Little kids play pretend every day. That's all we're doing. We're playing pretend. We just have to learn lines to do it. So what better gig, right?
And play nice.
Play nice.
And on that note, it was a pleasure.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you guys. On your feet, the ET panel. Absolutely fantastic.
This is John Glover, and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Lionel Luther recommends it. Have some fun. Follow your fandom.